Hello everybody, it's Dean. Just to warn you up front before the podcast starts that there are spoilers for many things throughout this episode. There are spoilers for Venom, Let There Be Carnage, there are spoilers for Spider-Man, and there are spoilers for The Last of Us Part 2. So look out. Good night. I don't know why I said good night. Enjoy the podcast.
Hello everybody and welcome back to MADpod episode 3. Is this 3 or 4? I think it's 3.
Could be 4. Could be
4. We'll go look real quick. I'll go look real quick. In the meantime, welcome back to MADpod, everybody, your monthly gaming podcast between myself and good old Dean of the Mathas channel. How you doing, my mans?
Hello, mate. How are you? I'm good.
Good. Yeah. Chilling right now. I got coffee flowing through me, so it's just been a good time. Yeah, this is episode 4.
Okay, episode
3
4.
was last time we talked about Spider-Man, Dark Chronicle, and a bunch of other stuff. So, yeah. Since the last episode, some fun things have been announced game-wise. We've been playing some different games as well. So we'll kind of dive in. Why don't we dive in with the new, the PlayStation announcements where they talked about some of their upcoming games and stuff?
It was about a 45-minute presentation, I believe. I can't remember the date it occurred, but it was front-loaded with boring announcements. And the last 10 minutes were what you really wanted to see. I think we both have one game in mind that was just out of left field completely from Insomniac.
Oh, yeah, out of left field, yeah. Wolverine. Yeah, the Wolverine. I was very happy to see it because we talked about it, and I don't remember when, but when Spider-Man PS4 came out, and it was really good, and they were talking, like, kind of leading in, we were talking about, like, an MVU, an MVGU, basically.
Yeah.
And it looks like Insomniac's going to do exactly that.
Yeah.
I'm super pumped.
There are a couple of things here that are making me skeptical of this MGVU. As you said.
Sure.
So the first would be tonally, Wolverine and Spider-Man are going to be incredibly different. Well, you would hope anyway that Wolverine will be at least. What do you rate 15s over there? What's the one between adult?
There is no 15s. There's just T for teen and M for mature.
Okay, and Spider-Man's a teen there, right?
Yes, correct. Okay. Mature is lots of blood, lots of gore, that kind of thing.
So
that's 17 and up.
We would expect Wolverine to be immature. Right.
I would hope so. Yeah. I would hope we see something like along those lines. It depends. I guess it depends on how they go because the comics kind of go back and forth. Sometimes he's super gory and sometimes he's right in line with other comic book violence. It really just depends.
Right. Okay. Well, I guess that's down to Insomniac's and Marvel's and Sony's jurisdiction then, I suppose.
I'm with you. I just want to put on the page that I would like to see a Wolverine game that's M for mature, gory, bloodier, maybe a little bit more violent. I wonder if they'll do that because I imagine we're going to see eventually crossovers. We're going to see Spider-Man crossover with X-Men or whatever. I don't think we'll see Spider-Man crossover in the next game with Wolverine or any other really X-Men. Maybe we'll get like name drops, like little hints that they're out there, but that's about it. I really don't think we'll see crossover events until either Spidey 3 or after their story is told and they want to do a Spidey 4.
Oh man, Spidey 4 sounds ridiculous.
I know. Oh man, I can't wait. Yo, speaking, we're going to tangent here, but we talk a little pop culture. Did you see that, that leaked trailer, that leaked footage of Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man talking to Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man with Tom Holland nearby? And he's like, and Alex Garfield's like looking to Tobey Maguire and he goes, wait, so you have web blood? Like, cause Maguire does that. And everybody's like, oh, it was deep faked. It was deep faked. One of my favorite, the CGI pros, they took that and they spent 2 hours breaking it down. And they said, sorry guys, it's real. Like that is not deep faked. We've done tons of deep fake. Like that's real. So I really think in the movie, we're about to see Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire show up. And Andrew Garfield looks at Tobey Maguire at one point because they're under some stands, all in their Spidey outfits with their masks off. And he's just looking up to Tobey. He's like, wait a minute, you have web blood? And it's just like well delivered and it just looks super real. And they were like, no, it's fake. It's deep faked. And then they were just like, no, that shit's real, dude. That's definitely real. That was leaked. Like it's probably coming from the movie. So I think we're going to see both of them. And I think that means we're going to see a proper Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 4. I really think we do. I think we're going to get that in the next 5 years.
Well, firstly, I didn't know you were gonna drop that on me because I thought.
Sorry.
I thought you were just talking about like because I've seen an leaked image, yes, but there have been like conflicting reports on whether it's real or not. I've seen an image of like Andrew Garfield looking bloke squatted down on like some scaffolding and like another man
looks like scaffolding. There's like a blue screen behind him.
Spider-Man, and it's just like.
That's that. Okay, I've seen the full clip. Like, there's a clip you can go watch.
Of him saying words. What?
Yes. There's a whole clip of him actually saying lines, dude. Which is not just a picture. It's like a whole. I've seen the clip.
Holy shit. Holy shit.
So that's why people are like, it's deep fake. It's deep faked.
No, it's not.
No, professionals broke it down like if this is a deep fake, it's technology we don't know exists yet.
Holy fuck. It's gonna
So
happen.
I think we're gonna get it. I think we're gonna get all the Spider-Mans are gonna come back. We're gonna see them. Did you see the new Venom movie yet?
No.
Are you gonna?
Yeah.
Do you want me to tell you what the post-credit scene is? It's the only scene worth watching in the whole movie. Just tell me. That's fine. All that happens is like towards the end, Eddie Brock and Venom are on an island. Like they ran off after the end of the movie. And at that point, he's talking to Venom, and Venom symbiote's like, I've lived 80,000 years, Eddie. He's basically saying like, I can impart the knowledge of 80,000 or 80 million light years worth of knowledge. He's like, if I gave you that experience, your brain would explode, but I can give you a fraction of it. Do you want to see? And Eddie's like, yes. And he's like, all right. And he's about to do it. And then all of a sudden there's this bright white light and things go, ooh. All of a sudden he looks around and the apartment he's in on the island completely transforms. It's like he was in a rundown shack and now he's in this huge fancy apartment. He's sitting on the bed and he's like, what the hell did you just do? And Venom goes, I didn't do that. And then all of a sudden the TV flips on, and on the TV, J. Jonah Jameson is shouting about Peter Parker being Spider-Man, and they show Tom Holland's face. And then Venom takes over Eddie. He walks over to the TV and goes, this guy. And he licks the TV and licks Peter Parker. And then it ends. And that's how the Venom movie ends. That's the post-credit scene. So the universes are merged. The Marvel and Sony have clearly come to an agreement. Shattering the multiverse was probably the smartest way to do it. All the universes are coming together, and it allows Sony to do whatever the fuck they want and whatever movies they want, and it not really affect the MCU, but the MCU can also dip in and pull characters as they want. It's the smartest way to do this when the rights belong to two separate companies. And it was a really cool thing. Like, that's the only, I didn't think the movie was all that good, but that post-credit scene was very good. And I was like, great, awesome.
Okay, well, there's a lot to talk about there, but I'm actually interested in your verdict on Let There Be Carnage, because
first of all, it wasn't an M-rated movie, so you're gonna have Carnage on a level that's not Carnage. I would say Cletus Cassidy doesn't feel like Cletus Cassidy in the movie, and like most Sony movies, he just doesn't last long enough. Like, he's just a flash in the pan villain. It just felt like a waste. But if they merge all the universes, Carnage can be anywhere in any universe, and maybe we'll see him again because now the universes are all colliding with one another.
Yeah. So Woody Harrelson sucked then? Was it just Woody Harrelson?
No, I think he was fine. I don't think it was his acting. I think it was the story. I think it was the script. I think it was the directing. I just think it was a bunch of writers being like, well, this is what happens in the comics. We just got to make it work, I guess. And like, it just felt lazy and I just felt like they could have done so many different things and just made it better. But I also would have wanted that movie rated R. Let There Be Carnage without a rated R rating makes no sense to me.
So it's the bald JJ, by the way.
Yep, it's the one you see at the end of Homecoming. It's the same exact news thing because you see Tom Holland's face after as well.
Far From Home, yeah.
Far From Home. Sorry. Far From Home. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Interesting. I want to see. I think I said this last time. I want to see like flat top JJ pointing at bald JJ and be like,
that would be super
Spider-Man.
Great. I would. Please give us that little like. I would love to see that in a future movie. Man. That's pop culture, but kind of winding ourselves back to the video game world. I mean, Spidey 2 is going to be all about Venom. Yeah. And I bet you they'll do a better job than Sony did.
Oh yeah, 100%.
With the Venom storyline. So,
I like the idea that Kraven gets on. I like the idea that Venom gets onto Kraven because Kraven's the other rumored villain. I really like that
the
idea.
voice we hear in the trailer is probably Kraven. I think is pretty much people are because he's talking about his best target or whatever it is.
Yeah,
that would be cool. I would like to see that. I still would like to see my pitched idea of like Venom at the very end Peter taking on the suit to save Harry, because clearly it's going to be a different take on Venom. Venom is going to be on Harry this time around. And I would love to see Peter Parker sacrifice himself, because the devs also said this is going to be kind of an Empire Strikes Back movie, a game, so dark. So I don't think it's going to get a clean ending. And we'll probably only end up playing as Miles maybe for the last part. And then
that's a great point. I see what you're saying. It's going to end like Empire does. Yes,
it's going to end like Empire, where Peter takes off. He has the suit. You are only with Miles. And then Spidey 3, it's a Miles game. And you're playing as Miles. Because I imagine the second one, it's not going to be co-op. I don't think the dev said it's co-op. You'll probably go back and forth. Or you'll play as Peter Parker, and then you'll have moments where you team up with Miles, like in the other games, and you have these cool team up moves. I think it'll be a Peter-centric story, though. And then I think the way I would do it is I'd make the third game a Miles-centric story focused on saving his father, because everything they kind of laid out in the first game leads into this arc really, really well. You have Peter, who clearly wants to be a father or a mentor of some sort, something that he never had because Uncle Ben died. And then you have Miles, who lost his father, his mentor, his guide, over his perceived inability to save him. And now you can kind of play with that dynamic, because Peter is obviously trying to take a fatherly role for Miles, and Miles looks up to Peter like a replacement father in some ways. And so you have this moment in the second game where you really play up that dynamic, and then you shatter it at the end. You ruin it. You break Miles' heart because Peter probably says or does something that can be interpreted as gray or evil because he has the dark suit on. Maybe Peter's like, go be, kicks him out, whatever. And then in the third game, you explore that broken relationship, which is just an allegory for real life trauma and real life family issues, like all comics do. And at the end, you build a mature relationship where he's not a father and he's not looking up to him like a father, but they see each other as like, equals or friends. You go through the process of repairing that relationship, with the allegory of the black suit being the reason that he is the way he is. And then you end the game with you could go dark, Peter dies, at the end of it, but they heal their relationship. Or you go, what I think they'll end up doing is Peter escapes the black suit. They have a much better relationship at the end. And then you can really go on your way and make Miles Morales games and Peter games separately, if you so choose. And they can be their own thing and their own story arcs, because by the end of the trilogy, I imagine Miles will be just as much of a Spider-Man, less of a clumsy guy as Peter is. I'm assuming years will pass. That's my own personal take on looking at what they've done in the first story and the way they've kind of presented the relationships, and then playing the Miles Morales game and seeing the kind of story arc of this bumbling kid who wants to be more than he is, but he's still learning. And all that stuff. That's the way I would like to see the story go. Sorry, I just rambled.
That's quite all right.
A lot there.
No worries.
But that's the way I was looking at it.
I like the idea. I'm just not convinced that they would give Spider-Man 3 completely to Miles. You've got to be able to play Peter.
Maybe. I imagine, again, this is all probably 5 or 6 years in the future, so anything can change. But yeah, I can see them doing in 3. You get to play you go back and forth. Maybe you get to play as Peter in the dark suit. You get all those cool fucking powers, and maybe you get some choices along the way of whether you save someone or don't for the greater good or whatever. Yeah, there's a bunch of different things they could go along with that. There's some cool possibilities out there for what they're gonna do with this universe.
I think maybe you play for Peter for an hour, and then Miles enters the room with a golf club.
Yeah,
pummels Peter Parker.
And then you need to feel bad for Peter for the rest of the game. I mean, not for Peter. You need to feel bad for Miles for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
After he beats Peter's skull in.
I was ranting about that game yesterday, by the way. Last of Us 2, everybody. For those who haven't played it.
What an amazing game. I was literally bitching about The Last of Us 2 on Saturday with the D&D people I was playing with. Two of them also hate that game. They're like, that game is so bad. And they were talking about, it's literally all you had to do was kill Joel at the end of the game and let your get attached to Abby first.
Yeah.
And instead of doing it the reverse way, which is so weird, but we've talked about this so many times.
Yeah, it's so brave that they did that, because they obviously want you to hate Abby and then quote unquote fall in love with her. Yeah, redeem her yourself. And it's just, if it doesn't work in that first flashback where you see Abby as a a younger girl. If you're not attached to her, that's it. The rest of the game,
That's it. You're done.
fucking sick of her. Because I was.
Yeah, me too. I did not like that character at all. I don't think it's a shame because all they had to do was just change the structure very slightly, and Abby could have been a very loved character.
Yeah, because I remember, like, we're going on a tangent again here, but I remember when the moment happened, and I was like, God, I've never been more in line with a character. I've never been like more in Ellie's shoes. I was like exactly Ellie, and for the whole game, it's like, yes, I'm Ellie. I'm not Ellie. Oh,
yeah. What?
I guess I'll rush this Abby part. Oh, I'm still Abby. I'm still Abby. I'm still Abby. I'm still Abby. And then,
I guess I'm Abby forever.
So, like, you're in Ellie's shoes, and you learn things as Ellie does, and you feel things as Ellie does. But then in the final moment when Ellie's about to kill Abby, Ellie remembers something that the player has no concept of, and the game's just like, see, she wouldn't kill Abby.
And then she gets a bad ending.
And then she gets an awful ending.
And then Ellie gets fucked over in every way, and you're like, wow, thank you, game. Well, it's like one of those games where you're like, oh, you're trying to be artistic. You tried really hard to be artistic, and it just didn't work in any way.
Nah.
Like a David Cage game. Except at least the gameplay was better. I would say the gameplay was better in Last of Us 2.
Oh, actually,
obviously.
Let's talk about David Cage and Quantic Dream.
Yeah, because they're making a fucking Star Wars game. What the fuck?
You've played Omicron, right? Or at
no,
least
I haven't. Thank God. I will. I own it. It's sitting up there.
That's the most action-y of their games, isn't it?
I think so, because the idea is like the game is self-aware that it's like a video game, and it addresses you, the player, a lot.
Oh God.
And it's just this fucking
pretentious bollocks.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
I know it's like 20 years old now, but that's the best way we can glean Quantic Dream sort of action tendencies, I guess.
I don't think this is gonna be an action game, my friend.
You don't think we're gonna swing a lightsaber at all?
If we do, it'll be in a QuickTime event fashion.
Oh God, give it up.
I think that's what's going to happen. I think it's going to be QuickTime events. I think it's going to be like every other David Cage game in existence. It's going to be very pretty. The story is going to feel like it was written by a 6th grader who just took their first social studies class. And the combat is just going to be QuickTime events, and that's all it's going to be. That's all it ever was.
There are going to be good actors in bad roles and awful actors in really important but still bad roles.
Yep, pretty much.
Just like every
It'll be the story that teaches you the space Nazis are bad. That's what it's going to be. That's what it's going to be. I don't want to talk about it until we see fucking more footage and I can be properly upset about it.
Okay.
What else is coming? What have we been playing? Like, what have you been playing, dear old Dean?
What have I been playing? I've been playing Zomboid on the channel. That's going very well.
Yes, you have been playing. How have you been enjoying the Zomboid, my friend?
I love it. It's
I
so
peeped
good.
in on a couple of episodes because I'm curious how you play, for one. And two, I want to hear the Noiseworks update because I haven't really played the game in a while. And the game sounds amazing. Like the audio quality of that game is very, very good. It's very good. I really enjoyed it a lot.
Well, I play like an idiot. Because
you don't have nearly as many hours as I do.
No, I have like 24 hours or something. But I remember at the end of episode 7, I was angry because like some like helicopter attracted loads of zombies.
The helicopter event. Yep.
And so it was raining. I took off all my clothes. And then I was like, I'm mad. I'm going to kill zombies. So I just walked in the rain naked? With my hammer.
Did you get sick?
Nope. Lemmy Mathas, he's a beast. I took like 7 zombies out and then just walked back to my house and I was fine. But yeah,
that's a lesson everybody has to learn is the helicopter event every playthrough. The idea is the helicopter found you, it's observing you, and then it's deciding that you're not worth saving. So
there's only one pair, or can that just happen anytime? Now we're just talking about Zomboid, but that's fine.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to remember. I think it can happen again. Okay. But I think it's random.
Dear God, I hope not. Well, people are recommending that I move house because I need like fortifications, and my house currently is just like open. I've grown some broccoli though. It's going to be. You
have a farm going, but you haven't fortified your house.
I mean, I've put a board up on a window because it got smashed.
One board on one window, and you're spending, my friend. Just think about it. Let me just walk you through the logic here. You put the time and effort, right, into making a farm, but not defending your house. All it takes is one night for a group to wander in and your house is fucked. And then all that farming is wasted.
Well, let me point you in the direction of my beautifully crafted sheet rope hanging from my bedroom window.
Sure.
That I can descend
But I'm saying
from.
the boarding...
Also, let me point you to the boarded back door. I think I do have a boarded back door. I have a boarded window.
You boarded your back door and not the front door? You know, the one near the road where the zombies would be? Not toward the farm where you need to go often?
No, I locked the back door. It's locked.
Oh, that's fine. You're locked. All right, that's fine. I was just like, why would you board the back door?
Look,
that makes no sense.
You sound like YouTube comments. Stop this.
Because I am the YouTube comments right now. Listen, boarding up your house does you a couple things. One, if you hear them, your character will wake up to them banging on the wood, not broken glass, which is always good. Two, it buys you time to go out there and kill them before they break your boards. You can put 4 boards on a window before you can't put any more boards up. So put 4 up. And then, but if you leave them open, it'll buy you time to escape. Whereas if you leave them open, they're just in your fucking house. And if your character for some reason doesn't wake up to the breaking glass, which is a chance, you're going to wake up to being bitten in your bed. And then you're just going to be dead.
Look, I've already said it. Lemmy Mathas is going to live forever. This is happening.
Only if you cheat and like reload your saves, you fool. You're going to die eventually.
He's going to live. Look, Lemmy has had many chances to be bitten and he's pushed him, he shrugged him off. He got scratched by it. He's been scratched once and it was by a window. Zombies can't
You have edited
touch him.
Countless Zomboid videos, my friend. You have seen what eventually kills you.
Played by you.
Yeah, me, the person who can last like
I'm gonna
100
live
episodes. All right, you're on episode 8. If you can make it to episode 60, like my last series, alive,
okay.
I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think you're gonna make it. Did you mess with the sandbox settings at all? Or did you just go? Which did you choose? What difficulty?
I didn't do the like super hard avoid combat. I did like the classic Zomboid experience.
Just survival mode?
That's it, yeah.
Okay.
So I've been going
not apocalypse mode.
No, I've been going around the houses collecting food. Then I went around again and started dismantling doors. I'm still in the process of that.
How about collecting water?
I have several containers that I can leave outside. I've got water and cans and shit like that.
Because the water's going to go out eventually.
That's right. What construction level do I need for like water collectors?
Like 3?
3. Oh, okay, then I think.
And it's a lot because you just have to be able to build something that has no holes, basically.
Right. Okay.
It might be 2, but 3 for the good ones for sure. But you might be able to make a shallow crate at level 2 that can hold less water, but you need a trash bag as well.
Right. Okay.
To collect the water.
Okay.
And then you might need to boil rainwater. I can't remember. Otherwise, it might make you sick.
Right. Okay.
There's all that survival shit you got to worry about. Like you can't just like slurp up any water you come across. Your character's going to be hurling his guts up. And make sure you're eating healthy, because if you're eating a lot of junk food, it affects your character's weight. He can't run as much.
Yeah,
it's all that shit.
I've been taking that into account for sure. I don't think I'm eating a good amount per day, but I'm eating decently a day. I'm not just eating like processed cheese and like crisps every day.
I was gonna say, just as long as you're not living off of chips. Cabbage, man, grow cabbage. Cabbage, if you can grow it, is like the best shit.
I was growing broccoli and radish.
Those I think grow pretty quick, but I think they're minimal in like how much they actually fill you.
Right. Okay. Well,
I'm glad you're playing Zomboid. I'm glad you're enjoying it. The game's a lot of fun.
Moving away from Zomboid, off camera, I've been playing a lot of Rimworld, the new ideology update.
Yeah, I've heard good things, I think, of that. I haven't checked it out yet.
I haven't done much ideology, but what I have done is like incredibly cool. It adds an incredible amount. I've used that word so many times. It's an incredible amount of depth added to a game that is already like I still haven't perceived the depth of the OG vanilla Rimworld yet. I haven't seen everything that game can do, and so to play like the royalty and the ideology updates, thank you Zerodoxy for your Steam library. I've been really enjoying it. I've been doing like the classic 3 survivor experience.
That's like the best way to go.
Yeah. But we had like a manic deer that was just like pissed off for no reason and wandered in. And it beat up all 3 of my survivors and camped the medical room. So when a survivor woke up and came out of the room, the deer knocked him out again. And it was like,
oh God,
this is fucking bullshit. And then it was just like, I got a little pop-up and it was like, the man in black has appeared. And I got a new survivor and it was like the Cassandra, do you know, the AI? She realized I was having trouble and gave me a new character to try and like help.
She's like, all right, here you go, sweetie.
And then the deer immediately went to him and knocked him out and killed.
Oh my God.
I was like, oh, well, I guess I need to restart. But yeah, I've been playing Rimworld and it's so good. So good.
Yeah. Rimworld is a fucking great game.
I can't believe how well, it's just special. A special game.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait. I'm going to try it out eventually. I have so many fucking games I'm trying to get through at this point. But also, like, just makes me excited for Dwarf Fortress to arrive on freaking Steam as well.
Yeah, with their new graphics, right?
Yeah, it's got them graphics and an actual, like, UI that requires, like, that actually recognizes the mouse and stuff.
Beautiful. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I can't wait.
The last thing I've been playing, although I haven't finished it yet, because I'm waiting to play it with my girlfriend, is Deltarune Chapter 2.
I'm waiting until that thing is done before I touch any of it. Yeah, so I'm super excited for it. I can't wait because I fucking loved Undertale, but I won't touch it until it's done.
So you haven't played the first chapter either?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Then that's all I'll say. Really good.
Yeah, I imagine it's really good. That particular guy as a developer he's excellent. He's just very good at what he does.
Toby Fox, great developer.
Toby Fox, that's right. That's his name. I couldn't remember it for a minute there. Yeah, he's very, very good. Cool. Is that it for you that you've been playing?
Yeah.
For me, for play wise, I've got a couple things I've been kind of dipping into and out of on my own. First, I actually started on stream 3 days ago, and I'll probably finish it today or tomorrow, depending on how much. I'm playing the OG Dead Space. I'm playing Dead Space for a number of reasons. One, and probably one of the bigger ones, Judge Mathas Halloween special. I'm working on that, and I want it to be Dead Space. The reason I wanted to be Dead Space is one, they announced the remake, obviously. They're totally remaking the game, so I want to play the OG to see how it holds up and how well it goes. But also the game is 13 years old now, which feels insane to me because I have vivid memories of buying it brand new and being blown away and loving it on the Xbox 360 back in the day. And honestly, I played, what does it say? I played 3 hours on stream the other day. I'm probably like just about halfway through the game at this point. I forgot how short it was. But it still holds up extremely well. A lot of the textures, I think the textures suffer the most and clearly show its age. But the animations, the models, the atmosphere, the audio design, all of it is just... Dead Space is a classic. I think it will be a classic forever, and it's just clear as to why. Like, I remember watching an interview about how they ended up building the AI that controls the music for the game, and how it adjusts depending on how close you are to a necromorph that's nearby, and it just naturally ramps up the tension on its own, and it still does an incredible job. The jump scares, there's a couple of them, like coming up, for me, I don't go anywhere near a necromorph lying on the ground unless I've shot it first. Like, I'm not stupid, but all the other ones that are built into the game are that you can't avoid still get me. Like, I completely forget that they're there. The audio and like the timing of it is great. The lighting of the game is great. The USS Ishimura is just a timeless horror play, like a horror, I'm trying to think of the word, setting. There you go. It's just a classic horror setting. The more you go into the game, the more crazy it gets, and the more like blood graffiti on the walls and desperate. It's just such a fucking phenomenal game. And I'm super excited to write a Judge Mathas about it. Initially, I was going to do 2 horror games this month, but I totally forgot in that planning. I won't even be here for an entire week this month because I'll be in LA. So I'm just going to not have time to knock out 2 separate games. So Dead Space will be the only proper Judge Mathas this month, as well as some just superfluous like unboxings and stuff like that I've been doing. When was the last time you played Dead Space? Have you played it any time in the recent few years or no?
I've never played it.
You've never played Dead Space. Do you like horror? Are you a horror game guy?
Oh yeah. When it came out, I wasn't a horror guy. I was a little scaredy pants. Only in the last like 3, 4, 5 years, I would say, have I really become like infatuated with horror as a genre, and I've started to really appreciate it. So that's definitely a game that I'm going to play. I think at this point I'll probably wait for the remake, but I'm not quite sure about that yet because, I mean, going back to what you said earlier, I was going to say something. Dead Space, we all know, is good for its atmosphere.
Yeah.
And that's regardless of the fact that it's now 13, 14 years old.
Yeah.
Don't matter about the textures, don't matter about all that stuff.
Yep.
The atmosphere is the atmosphere. So maybe I will play the original because I need to appreciate and respect the original.
And I'll say this too about the original. The gameplay still holds up. It's very solid. It doesn't feel clunky. It feels good. Everything, the feedback, the weapons, the gore, the dismembering, it's still very, very good. So I would say it's worth playing. And then Dead Space 2 is, to some people, better than Dead Space 1. To others, close, but not quite. I think I sit in that it is better than Dead Space 1 in terms of its horror atmosphere. But a little bit not as good in terms of its story. But it's still excellent. I would highly recommend playing Dead Space 1 and 2. And if you just want to play one of them, the first one's only like 6 to 8 hours, man. It's not that long. You can plow through that. And if you have an EA subscription, it's free. You can just download it and play it. So, which is how I'm playing it right now. It's super fun. So yeah, if you're looking for a great horror game to go back to, you're looking for something spooky, go play that. It's excellent. I'm also playing, due to Halloween, privately at home, The Sunken City. I just started it. It came out with a PS5 remaster, like a PS5 edition. It's the game by Frogware. They're the people who make all the Sherlock Holmes games. And this is their first foray into like Cthulhian horror. And I did my research on the game, and all the reviews were like 7 and up. So I was like, all right, this seems sick. And I started playing. I put a couple hours in. I gotta admit, I'm having a good time. It's not jump scary. It's more creepy. A lot of creepy atmosphere, creepy imagery, a lot of weird imagery.
Which, sorry, not to cut you off, but arguably is exactly what Cthulhu needs to be.
Yes, I agree. Yes, yeah, I agree. Like, Call of Cthulhu Dark Corners of the Earth was more of a trying to be a jump scary style game with kind of shoehorned in combat, especially in the last half. This one is leaning on its Sherlock Holmes roots, is a lot of investigation. You have choices, a lot of choices on whether you like, when you discover something, do you tell the person? Do you keep it to yourself? It all affects the story. So there is some player agency. There has been minimal combat, and the combat is clunky but functional. So I don't feel awful using it, but it's certainly not the game's strong suit. And on the PS5, it runs at 4K, 60 FPS. It's an Unreal 4 game, so it automatically has some really good lighting. It's been a really good time. Like, I'm really trying to enjoy October, enjoy the spooky month more than I ever have in my life, and trying to play some spooky games off camera and on. And it's kind of been a nice dichotomy to have the action horror of Dead Space and then the kind of mystery horror of The Sunken City. If you're into that kind of game, I would recommend that as well. It's been a lot of fun. And then other than that, I kind of got the itch to play XCOM 2. I've started up an XCOM 2 game, which I'll definitely continue. But I'm not going to sit here and talk about XCOM 2 because it's a bajillion. It's multiple years old. People have played through that game a million times at this point.
And everybody knows how good it is. I just want to...
it is such a good game.
I'd like to talk about Sunken City just a little bit. I haven't played that. That was something that was something that I had my eye on as well when it came out, because I believe it came out the same year that an official like licensed Call of Cthulhu game actually came out not alongside it, but in the same like window.
Yeah, you're correct. There was 2 Call of Cthulhu games that came out around the same time. And the Sunken City was the better of the 2, I believe.
Yeah.
Let me check. I'm curious. Cthulhu games. I'm sure they'll just pop up. There was just straight up Call of Cthulhu, which is the one I think you're thinking of.
That's right.
Yeah, that got about a 20% lower score. And then there's the Sinking City, which is what I'm playing right now. And that's it. Yeah, they both came out. Let's see. Sinking City came out June 23rd, 2019. Call of the Cthulhu came out October 29th, 2018. So less than a year apart, more or less.
Okay. For some reason, I thought it was much closer, but I guess I'm just like
actually me too. I really thought it was much closer too, but I just think getting 2 Cthulhu games within a year is probably what threw us off, because that never happens.
Well, I'm pleased to hear you say that Sunken City is good. Or Sinking City. Yeah. I apologize.
Sinking City is a lot of good. You just got to understand. You got to know what you're going for. You got to understand that you're getting a detective game with player choice. If you're into that, the PS5 version looks great. I'm assuming it looks as good as the PC version, but because I'm not making it work, playing it on the PS5. Yeah, man, check it out. You have any questions about it? Like, it's a fun game.
The moment-to-moment gameplay, then, I'm walking and just inspecting things.
Yeah, so usually the way the way the thing goes is you have like some mystery presented to you, and usually you're kind of given these clues as to where to go, who you're looking for, and depending on the difficulty you're playing on, you'll either get like a marker on your map, or you need to listen to the instructions and try and figure out where it is. Once you get there, you have two ways of inspecting things, normally by walking up to things, clicking on it and the like. And then you have like a supernatural vision where your character can walk up to certain spots and you can kind of like visualize what happened and why the crime is there. After you're done looking at a crime scene, you go into like this screen where all these different clues are all floating around, and you have to connect the right ones. And when you connect the right ones, it gives you what do you call it? It gives you like a deduction of what you deduce has happened. You get all the deductions, and then you start figuring out what happened, and then you have to make a choice. Do you think this happened or this happened? And then you choose, and then usually you choose, do you want to tell them? Do you not want to tell them? Do you want to lie to them? Like this, that, and the other. And then that'll kind of have an effect on the story going forward.
Okay, I can visualize all that in my head because I've like farted about with a couple of Sherlock Holmes games from those guys.
Sure. There is also an insanity mechanic too built into this game, where if you're like staring at bodies too long, your visuals start to go crazy, and you start to hallucinate bad guys, more or less, that you have to like shoot. So there is a level of danger of like lingering too long and looking at things that are disturbing for too long.
Okay, it's over the shoulder, right? Over the shoulder.
Well, a little bit further back, you get a full view of the character for the most part, but it's not super far back either. It's pretty close.
So it's like pre Gears of War over the shoulder.
Yeah. That's a pretty good description, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
You can definitely tell too. This is like a AAA game. The Unreal Engine 4 looks great, but the facial animations are a little stiff. And your character's running animation looks like he's got a shit in his pants, like just all the time.
In Cthulhu World, I'm sure he does.
Yeah, it makes sense. It super makes sense. And they're definitely doing their own thing with the lore, which is cool because in the city you're in, the Innsmouthers have arrived because their city, the Innsmouth, has been destroyed. And so these fish people are now living amongst other Cthulian-like people that look like monkeys almost. And there's this tension between them. And they're like there's like violence between them. And there's some sort of politics happening. So it's actually pretty cool. Yeah, they're doing their own little thing with it. And it's super fun.
Yeah, that's much more, what's a word? That's so much more cool than the Call of Cthulhu concept, which is literally just like an investigator goes to a town and weird shit's happening. It's like, this seems, they're like cooler. Putting their own spin on it, and with their Sherlock Holmes like deduction UI like floating shit you're talking about. I mean, that's so much more fits Call of Cthulhu than just like walking up to an item and hoping you realize what it is. Because I think what I mean by that is I think in the official Call of Cthulhu game, I think it's literally just a dice roll on whether you like recognize what you are looking at or not based on your stats.
So did they base it on the board game then?
Yeah, but I think in like a really half-assed and sort of like jamming a square peg into a circle hole sort of thing. So Sinking City seems like it would be a better match of Cthulhu lore with gameplay. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Not only Cthulhu lore, but like the tabletop like game itself. A lot of investigation in that. Yeah, I mean, honestly, Frogware is the developer that makes the most sense for this world, where I never really even thought about that before. Like it's true. You're right.
And they really lean into their strengths here, and they just get to play with a world that is supernatural and weird, which just makes the story that much more interesting and that much more fun to just journey about and check out. Definitely recommended. As long as you are cool with an inspector style, slower paced game, because that's what it is, but that's what makes it good. I mean, that's their specialty. So
you kind of
absolutely check it out.
Kind of made me want to play it.
You should. Absolutely. You absolutely should. If you can either afford it or if there's a demo or whatever, I think if you can get your hands on it, definitely try it out. It's super fun. I'm really having a good time with it. What else have I been playing? Video game wise, not too much else. Kenshi is coming. Yeah, go ahead. We've officially got the trailer up, so I start playing that now. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, would you like to talk briefly about the Alien Tabletop that you've run? Would you like to talk
I would love to. Yeah. So I'm a big tabletop RPG guy. If you guys who are listening only know me from my game stuff, I've got a few tabletop shows. Well, really, I've only got one right now. It's called Stitch of Fate. It's a Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition game. But recently, I got my hands on, by Free League Publishing, the Alien Tabletop RPG rule set. And that, for me, when I first heard of that, I was like, really? Alien? Like Alien Tabletop? That doesn't make any... Why would you do it? Like, I guess there's lore in the world. However, the developers of that game poured so much love into it that they fleshed out that universe insanely. There's an entire star map, an entire lore built around like the countless like star systems. I was hoping I had the book up here, but I think it's downstairs. So this is the book. I love the cover, first of all. The cover is so fucking sweet. I assume you've seen rather the Alien movies, Dean?
I've seen Alien 1.
Okay, I mean, that's all that matters, I guess.
Yeah.
So the developers, like I said, really went ham. They've clearly watched all the movies, but they really fleshed out the universe, and you can absolutely play a long-term game in this where the alien is not really around often. This is the map that they built. Like, it's huge. It's a huge star map of multiple planets and outer rings, inner rings, all that shit. But yeah. The Alien RPG is interesting because there's two modes of play. There's campaign mode, which is built for a long-term campaign where you're building your characters, you kind of decide what you want to be, space truckers, mercenaries, soldiers, blah, blah, blah. You're going out and doing jobs. And in that particular mode of play, the alien is not supposed to show up like ever. Like, it's supposed to be there on very special occasions because in this world, obviously the alien is rare and you kind of stumble across it. And when you do, it's going to be a huge event or the end of the game. Like, it really, like, that's kind of how it boils down. And I love it for that. The other mode of play, which is the one we played, is simply called cinematic mode, where it's a DM, X number of players, and it is built to be a one-shot. You're not supposed to play it for more than that. And the idea is there is an alien. There's an alien right out the gate. Like, you are dealing with it. And I'll go over, like, the story I did for the campaign here in a second. I'm just moving the camera over. Sorry. There we go. And so what's cool is the rule system is very similar to something like Vampire, where you're building dice pools. Like in Vampire, if you want to punch somebody, right? What you need to do is you need to look at your strength attribute, and then you need to look at your brawl skill. And if you have three dots in your strength attribute and 2 in your brawl, then you have a dice pool of 5 dice. Makes sense? You roll those 5 dice. If you roll a 6 and up, it counts as a success. 5 and under as a failure. You then you count the number of successes you have, and then you determine if you succeed. It's very, very similar in Alien, but instead of a D10 system, it uses a D6 system, and successes only happen when you roll a 6. Everything else is a failure, and things can get pretty bad. However, for the Alien, there's multiple stages of it. You have your egg, face hugger, like small chest burster, scout, soldier, basically. They don't really have that. What they have is a table, and you take 1d6 and you roll, and whatever you roll, you match to the table, and the alien basically does that. Some of them will require you to roll an attack roll, but most aliens have an attack pool of 10 dice or more, and all they usually require is you to hit with one of those dice, and as long as you hit once, the skill goes off. The idea is that when you run into an alien, you're fucked. There's not much you can do. So I'm going to run you through the little story I ran for them and hopefully give you an idea. The idea for this was I basically laid out an event where a Weyland-Yutani science vessel crashed on some unknown planet on the outskirts, and they want all the survivors that are still there out of there. They crashed a week ago. They only just picked up their SOS beacon, and this group of players that I was DMing for is being sent. They have 48 hours to get whatever survivors they can and meet back at the rendezvous point for an extraction, and they'll get paid for their services. The secondary priority is recover any Weyland-Yutani tech that you can. You'll get paid extra for whatever you recover. Very, very simple. Just get them in there. Once they were in there, things were clearly going wrong. When they entered the ship, the crashed ship, when they got on the planet, there was people dead from gunshots. There was a buggy on the side of the ship that belonged to a different company, which was called basically in the world, some company that deals with like bio warfare, chemicals and stuff. They clearly came in, shot everybody up, took a couple people hostage. But eventually they kind of run into the med bay. And in the med bay, there's this woman who's unconscious on the table. She has wires running from her arm to a crate. And the crate is very clearly keeping track of her vitals. They weren't sure what it was, so they're like, let's just detach her from this crate. As soon as they detached her from the crate and the vitals went to 0 on the crate, the top of the crate kind of folded open. A lot of like nitrogen gas kind of filed out, and they're like, what the hell? Somebody walks over because, in game, they don't know what this is. And somebody walks over and they see an egg, and there's an egg on the inside. And the way the rule system for the egg works in this game is anytime they're within a certain vicinity of the egg, they have to make a mobility roll, which is a stealth roll in this game. If they fail their mobility roll, the egg detects that there's something nearby and slides open, basically. One of them eventually fails. It opens. They all freak out. The face hugger crawls out and latches onto the nearest person, which is one of the players. They make some rolls. The face hugger makes their roll as well. They're able to actually get the thing off of it, and it quickly scurries over to the woman on the bed and just latches onto her face and like face hugs this woman. They don't know what to do. They're like, lock her in here. This is weird. There was argument about whether they should shoot her in the head or not, all kinds of stuff. But eventually, they leave. They start working for hours now. They're working throughout the ship, trying to figure out who's survived, who's not, running into people, little combat skirmishes with like the bionational group that's there. They come out on top, trying to get they realize the ship can't really be salvaged, but there's still like 3 survivors total. So they're trying to get them all out. And eventually they kind of rendezvous in their safe place, and somebody goes back to the med bay and she's awake. The face hugger's on the ground, dead. She's up. She feels fine. She's like, I don't know what's going on. Just what's this thing next to me? Where'd this come from? They send her out toward back toward where they came onto the ship. Like, we'll meet you there. It's fine. We'll be there in a bit. It'll be fine. They go there. They don't know where she is because they told her to hide. So she's hiding. They get there. They can't find her. They're kind of waiting for a few other party members. And all of a sudden she comes out from the crates. She's shouting for them, asking for help. She's clutching at her stomach. She's freaking out. And then of course she collapses to the ground, and I describe basically a chest burster being born. It scurries out and it fucking skitters off. They all start freaking out. Half the party wants to leave. Half the party wants to stay and like get what they can. There's tension running. Eventually they end up, 2 of them, they're like, we're staying at the tractor. We're going to keep this thing running. When you're done getting what you need, we're out of here. The other 2 were like, all right, let's head up. Let's get something, because they found another crate at this point. And they realized that they could probably get millions for this. So let's take this. They were going to go get basically another egg. By the time they got up there, there's rules now. Once there's an alien running around, every round they move, the alien moves double the speed and can move around the ship a lot faster. So once they come in the same area, they have to make opposing rolls, whether they see the alien, whether the alien sees them. And so they get to the 2nd floor, they get to the egg, everything seems fine. They're actually got the egg on the crate that has the egg in it on this turbo lift. They're making their way to the elevator quietly as they can, guns out, lights are out, things are flickering. They each have to make a roll. They fail their roll, the alien succeeds their roll. As they're about to approach the elevator, 5 feet in front of them, as a light flickers on the ceiling just for a moment, while it's too late, the thing is engaged range. They see this face hugger is now probably like 1.5 feet, 2 feet long, darker skin. It's clinging to the ceiling with its head hanging upside down, and they just watch as the light flickers. They catch it as it drools and begins to hiss. The alien immediately makes a roll. They have to make a roll. The alien succeeds instantly, grabs one of the party members. This is what the ability does. It doesn't have to make a roll as long as I roll it on the table. The alien leaps forward, grabs him by the shoulders and lifts him up, clings to the walls, and runs to a separate section of the ship with that player. They don't get to try and escape. The alien just picks you up and moves and takes you away. The other guy's shooting his pulse rifle, like, trying to take him down as he's run down the hallway. He freaks out. He's like, fuck, we got to get out of here. He ditches the egg. He runs for the elevator. At that point, the other guy barely is able to kind of get out of the grip. And as he runs to the elevator, he sees the other guy run in, and the alien immediately following. The alien rolls again, and he rolls a stinging attack. He doesn't roll to attack. He just stings the player. The player has to make a stamina roll. The number of successes that they roll gives him that much time to stay awake. So that many rounds. So he rolled 3. He'll be awake for 3 rounds. Once those rounds end, the venom from the tail paralyzes him and he can't move for hours. So he has 3 rounds to get away. He can't. He gets paralyzed and the alien kidnaps him. The other guy ditches the egg. He goes down. He's running out into the docking bay where the tractor is, screaming like, let me in, let me in, let me in, freaking out to the other players. The players are like, what the hell's going on? And as they do so, as they're looking around and they're about to let him in, one of the players notices over by the exit where the ramp is down leading to the exit at the outside of the ship, they see another alien kind of like lean down from the ceiling and then plop onto the ground and scurry off into the crates, because they did see evidence of a second alien on the ship already at that point. This one was a soldier, so they had a bigger one and a smaller one. Long story short, they get him into there. The other guy's fucked. They leave him behind. They quickly power out and try to roll out of this thing and drive out of the ship as fast as they can. One of the aliens was already down there, quickly jumps and latches onto the back of their tractor and starts taking its head and leaning back and just bashing itself into the glass as it's spidering out. So they're like, fuck, what are we gonna do? They try to reverse this thing and slam into it. They rolled well enough where they're able to knock it off, and then they barrel out the front of the door. They're trying to get out of there. They avoid one of the two aliens. The other one chases and actually latches back onto the back of the tractor and bashes it one more time and sends the glass shattering. Now, all this time, the players have a rule called stress. Whenever something weird happens, bad, whatever, they gain a stress point. And what that means is they have to add a stress die to their pool, which means they have a higher chance to succeed. But if they fail or roll a 1 on their stress die, a panic happens, and you have to figure out what panic that was. Well, the glass busts. One of them looks over. He panics. He rolls a panic roll. He rolls the worst one, and he goes catatonic as he's driving the tractor. As the alien bashes in, he kind of falls over, eyes agape, shaking. And they're like, fuck, what do we do? So they quickly, as best they can, move him out of the chair so the other person can pilot it. But in that moment, the alien reaches in, grabs him by the collarbone, and rips him out, running into the dusty cloud storm that's happening outside as they're outside, and disappears. The two left freak out and start driving as fast as they can to the rendezvous point, but there's still one alien left, and they're chasing. What they get to is they get to the point where they're supposed to transfer from one vehicle to another. They have maybe 50 feet between them and the alien as it's rushing them. And there's only 2 of them. There's no other ship here. They still have 24 hours before their backup comes. But this is the car that's safest for them. They're moving from their vehicle. They both have to roll a panic roll in this moment. One makes it. The other one rolls. They freeze for a round. They step out. They see the alien and they just get locked on with them and they just like can't move. The alien charges them. I roll my D6 and I roll 6. The 6 is instant kill. It headbites her. So it tackles her to the ground. It opens its mouth. The long proboscis pops out and it pierces her skull as she just dies. And the last player quickly barrels in, has to roll their panic roll, doesn't get affected by it enough where they have to freeze or anything. She barrels off. And she's the only one that survives that whole encounter as she learns that the person who got stabbed and paralyzed, when he woke up, he was in the mother computer room where they were storing him. So he was able to, with one successful roll, hack into the mother computer and set the ship to self-destruct. So as she's driving away, 2 or 3 hours pass by. She's alone, panicking. Out in the distance in the cloudy storm of the planet, she sees this dim red glow and smoke billowing as she then feels maybe a couple seconds later the rumble of the explosion across. And that's where we ended the session. And that's like a quick and dirty explanation of what happened, but like the rules let you have those kinds of games. Like they facilitate a very tense but open atmosphere because the rules are very similar to Vampire in that they're very basic. They're skill pools. If I want you to hack something, I need you to take your intelligence and combine it with your comm tech, and that's your dice pool, and that's it. And they're very open for you to call for whatever rolls you want. But the stress mechanics and the way the aliens work and all that shit just make it insane. And the fact that even one person survived was really cool because I didn't think anybody would. But it was those last 30 minutes really felt like the end of an Alien movie where everybody's just desperately trying to get away and failing here and failing there and not being able to, but one person's able to get out and they can tell the story further. If they didn't self-destruct that ship, what I was going to do is if they wanted to play a full-term campaign, turn that ship into an alien nest hive. Like those two aliens created a new nest, and maybe later in the campaign, months in advance, they'd arrive at this place and see it just completely covered in like eggs and shit. That would have been cool. But they blew it up, which honestly was a really cool way to end it.
Well, it's called cinematic mode, right?
Yeah, that's called cinematic mode.
Yeah, it's pretty fitting.
And it was perfect for it. And it did extremely well. And like, these are people I had never played with and DM'd for before. I had never really played with them. And it was a rule system I had never used before. And only one of them had played before. And it was easy to pick up. Very rarely did I have to open the book and look for what I needed. It was all very self-explanatory. And watching the players really kind of like lose their minds and freak out and all that stuff was super worth it. And I can't wait to run it again for you and for everybody we're going to play with. Cause I know I'm super excited to play that game more. Like it's one of my favorite rule systems of all time. It is that well written.
Was the session about 4 hours then? Typical tabletop length. Yeah.
Yep. All told, because we played for like 2 hours last week and we played for about 2.5, 3 this week. So yeah, between 4 and 5 hours. Okay. It was just in and out. And you could obviously drag that out as you want. I'd say the first 2.5, 3 hours, I was very slow paced. They had action scenes and intriguing scenes and they're trying to piece things together. But once the alien showed up or once they came across the egg, things were on a timer and things very naturally began to ramp up and ramp up and ramp up. And once the alien was an alien and no longer a face hugger or a chest burster, that's when shit got real, because that's when they get the abilities to just grab you and run, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Does the game allow easy? Well, does it facilitate role playing? I guess is my question.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's all about the role playing. It is completely focused on story over mechanics. So the whole way through.
So your players were role playing then? They weren't just like playing an alien game.
Yep. No, they were role playing. And these are people who are not big into role playing. Like, these are people that when they play D&D, they're very much themselves and they just can't get through that barrier. But I was able to get them through the barrier a couple of times, and I was able to get them to be their characters. And a lot of that I think just has to do with the language I use, because when I'm playing with them, I don't call anybody by their real name. I call them by their character name. And I'm constantly trying to reinforce that. And even for a party or a group of players who prefer an action-oriented kind of dungeon crawler silly game, Alien went over really well, and they were able to kind of put themselves there. And when things went bad, they were all freaking out, and that's when things are going well. So yeah, it's a story-focused game, and I think I can't sing its praises enough. I'm surprised that a game based on Alien is as well written as it is.
I didn't even know it existed until you told me about it. It sounds amazing.
Yeah, if you're into that kind of thing, the core book's I think $40 or $50. Like, it's worth it. And they just came out with the Colonial Marines expansion, so you can play as Colonial Marines and have more of an action focused game if you want. Still, high danger, but and they've got a few extra like little things that they've released on the sides, like little pre-made adventures and so on. And they have different aliens in the core book. Like, you have I'll show you. Like, they have again, because they kind of really expanded on the lore, and I know we're kind of at the end of the podcast here. I'm rambling a bit about the game, but I love to sing this game's praises when I can.
That's all right. I asked.
Yeah, true. You did bring this upon yourself in a way. But they do give you a few options in terms of like what you want to use in terms of an alien, if there's an alien involved. Yeah, so you got different xenomorphs, and every version of them have different abilities, different stats. So you've got like, it starts with like the neomorph alien, which is like the more, I think, Prometheus style, or like the new Alien movie, whatever it was called.
Yeah.
Yep. So you got the neomorph, and their abilities are very different. The way that they've written how long it takes for them to go through their stages of metamorphosis, and how long they have to stay infected in a person to hatch. But like, their blood burster, which is what their chest burster is, like if you roll a 1, 2, or 3 on a d6, they just escape. They snarl and hiss, but they flee. If they rolled a 6, though, they throat bite. The blood burster bites the victim's throat. If the attack causes damage, it automatically inflicts a critical injury, triggering an immediate panic roll. So they can't kill you instantly if they're that little, but they can still fuck you up. And then like an adult neomorph has their abilities. Oh, here's an adult xenomorph, rather. I'll just go to adult xenomorph here. Face hugger. You roll a 6, the final embrace. If I roll a 6, the face hugger gets to its victim, its acid making short work of any helmet or respirator in the way. Roll for the attack with 6 base dice. If it gets 1 or more successes, the poor victim is face hugged and immediately enters broken. Broken means they go unconscious. They can't do anything. Their last sensations are horrible, yet strangely loving. A firm but gentle caress around their head, a smothering sensation followed by a warm burst of oxygen-rich air filling their lungs. A deep sensation of slow motion falling. It's okay to fall asleep. And that's the face hugger when they get on your face. And you're just like, and you kind of just disappear as you get impregnated and it uses you. And then the chest burster, day or so later, bursts out of you and you fucking die and that's it. And you can't do anything about it. And then you go into stalker mode where if you roll a 6, they headbutt you. It opens its outer jaws. The deadly inner jaws lean out, gnashing in anticipation before snapping forward. The attack has a base strength of 9 base dice with a damage of 2. If it causes any damage, it automatically inflicts critical injury number 64, killing the victim in one dreadful blow. However, should the GM wish it, the victim remains alive enough, blah, blah, blah. But like, yeah, obviously the GM can do whatever you want. But yeah, if you roll that, you're done. And that's it. And that's how combat works against an alien. You can hurt an alien. They have 10 armor. And the way armor works is you roll 10 dice and any successes you roll negates a point of damage. But if you do damage, they bleed acid blood. And immediately the acid blood starts melting through the ship. And that causes all kinds. So you're like, what the fuck are you supposed to do? You need to escape. You got to get the hell out. There's nothing you can do. And that's what this game is really good at doing.
I have limited tabletop experience. It sounds like a ruthless, almost like a sci-fi Call of Cthulhu. Like just a ruthless, you're going to die probably.
Yeah, especially if you're playing in cinematic mode. You go in assuming you're going to die. Players are supposed to have, especially in cinematic mode, conflicting secret motivations. So like your Colonial Marine might be like, his secret motivation, quote unquote, is like nothing lives. Everything on the ship dies. We do not take anything with us. Cleanse all of it. While if you're playing a corporate agent, his secret thing might be like, take it home with you because this will make your company ultra rich and provide them a weapon. So immediately it's trying to build that tension. So by the end of the session, the corporate guy and the Colonial Marine guy might be yelling about what to do about the spare egg that you have, or, you know, somebody whose main goal is to save all survivors might be yelling with the officer who says escape at all costs and save what you can. Like it's all about that in the cinematic mode.
So these secret motivations, are they player chosen or are they like enforced by the book? I'm assuming they can.
The book gives you options and then it says you can also make your own.
Right. Okay.
Whatever you want. There's no mechanics attached to them. It's like D&D 5e where it's just trying to give you a little bit of extra depth to your character. But, you know, for the most part, the players I was playing with didn't really immediately lean on their hatred toward one another. But naturally, by the end of the game, the alien was causing so much tension that it didn't really matter anymore because it became, do I live or does he live? Do I try and save him and maybe kill all of us? Like, those are the kinds of decisions that you're going to be making in the moment to moment. And I think when we do play, you're going to fucking really like the game. It's really easy to pick up. It's not hard to learn.
Oh man, that sounds amazing. Well, before we end, do you want to go through a couple of questions that some viewers submitted?
Let's do some questions from Discord.
And the community page that I popped up another question.
Sweet.
For you guys. It was supposed to be the September episode. We're getting to you a little late, but that's fine. The first one I'm seeing here is, I was wondering, this is from Drop'em Official, I was wondering, in terms of replayability or personal fondness, which game or games keep you guys coming back to play again?
Zomboid and Kenshi immediately come to mind. Rimworld. For me, it's any game with an ability to have emergent gameplay. Any ability that tells me a different story when I play it, and I might have a different experience with it. That shit keeps me coming back.
Yeah,
that's pretty easy for me.
Yeah, I would say something pretty similar. There is another series though. There's Broken Sword, a point and click series from the 90s. The first two of those games I could honestly play probably every week for the rest of my life.
That's cool.
I love those two games so much. I actually played them with my girlfriend's mum, and because
that's actually gonna be fun.
She doesn't play games ever, so I was like, well, I'm trying to think of a game that she would enjoy because I know she reads like Dan Brown books and all this stuff, and Broken Sword is much like Dan Brown books. So the first two games we got through them. You know, she struggled. She didn't really get the fact that when you click on a guy, you're in like conversation mode and you can't interact with the world anymore. So there were those sort of things. But anyway, that's beside the point. Broken Sword for me is 100% that series.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think if I have a comfort series. I mean, I played Mass Effect 2 8 times over my life, so maybe that one. So maybe it's Mass Effect 2.
You like sci-fi.
I do. I really love sci-fi.
Favorite fighting game of the last decade? I think I know yours, but I'll let you go first.
I mean, I haven't played many is a thing. So like Smash got me into fighting games. So Smash is up there, but also Dragon Ball Z Fighter Z. I really loved when I had at the time when I was playing it because it was like a nice out, but it was really good. Those are the only two I've really played. And I'd say, I guess it goes to Smash Brothers for me just because it taught me to love fighting games.
Well, here's 726, the person who asked that question. I knew he was going to say Smash, and I think I'm with him. Mostly because, just like him, I haven't played very many fighting games. But Smash is just, I was talking about it with my friend, and it's just like, fuck all the items, fuck the Smash balls, just get on a flat stage and have a fucking brawl. It's so good.
Yeah, it's been like 8 months since I've played, dude. I haven't played in so long. But Nickelodeon Smash comes out tomorrow, so...
Are you going to get it?
Yeah, I'm buying it on PC.
Oh, hell yeah.
Me and the Smash crew are all going to get together tomorrow. We're all going to play.
Oh, nice.
I can't wait.
That's great.
I hope it's good, man. I hope it's at least good. But if it's not, oh well.
Last one here. Any possible horror game in the future of the channel? Well, it's October.
Yeah, Dead Space.
Yeah,
you got Dead Space coming. I'm gonna do on stream horror games all month probably, but on the YouTube channel, I'm debating doing like a top 5 type thing, focused on some spooky stuff as a filler episode. But Dead Space review is what you're gonna get out of me. I don't know about you. What about you? Are you doing anything on the channel spooky this month?
Yeah, I'm gonna play more of. There's a game called Fears to Fathom, which is like this. I don't know if you've seen it.
Is that the one where you were in a house hiding?
Yes, that's right. And there's like an invader. It seems like there's like 7 endings. I got the West one pretty quickly.
Can I tell you to play a game?
Oh yeah, of course.
It's only a demo, so it should only be a 20-minute video if you want to knock it out super fast. It's simply called They Are Here.
They Are Here. Okay.
It's on Steam. It's a demo. You can download it real quick. It's all about an alien abduction experience, and that the game is in full development right now, and everybody loves the demo. So check it out.
Okay, They Are Here. There you go, everybody. A little scoop on the MADpod.
Ooh, a little scoopy scoop.
Yeah, there's going to be loads of horror with it being October. We gotta have to do horror games.
4 days in October already.
Oh God, time moves so swiftly. It's incredible. But yeah,
it really too fast.
I'm going to upload. I did a video on Clock Tower on my own channel a couple of years ago. I'm going to re-upload that probably at the end of the month, just to give you guys like a nice little horror Dean Cutty. I'm also working on a video on Suspiria, which is an Italian horror movie from the 70s. I want to show you guys some movies.
The OG Suspiria.
Yeah, the OG Suspiria. I haven't seen the new one. Have you seen the new one?
No, I watched Red Letter Media's review on the new one.
Okay. The OG Suspiria.
Because Red Letter Media is funny as hell, and I love them.
They're the best. So yeah, there's going to be tons of scary games this month. Don't you worry about it. I'm going to be playing plenty of them. I just need to fill my my drawers with spare pants, basically.
Yeah, that's all you got. It's fine. You'll be fine. Listen, the more you play horror games over your life, the less they scare you. So just play all of them. That's it for us. Yeah, thank you guys for listening to this rather long episode of MADpod. I had a good time catching up with some gaming news. Next month, we'll have some bigger launches under our belt that we'll have played, I think. So I'm excited for those. Battlefield 2042 will have been out by the time we get together again. Nickelodeon Smash and all this other stuff. So yeah, we'll talk to you guys next month. Thank you guys so much for the support over on Patreon and on the channel, continually watching our stuff. We appreciate you a bunch, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.